is about to hit 100. Is it your wizard?
No,
Or is it
well,
your...
no, I sold over 200 of the Revenant in the Tomb. I'm like at 180 something with, I think, the Wizard Stone. Is that right? Yeah. So it's somewhere in that area. So I'm past 400 and I'm moving towards 5 before the end
Nice.
of the.
Oh,
Actually, I'll probably have it before July at this rate. So and then my next one is to hit 1,000. So
Hey,
Cool. Yeah, no, I'm at the part where Hal Cedric's about to go deeper into the tomb. How is the Wodeman's name actually pronounced?
Wodeman.
Or the Wodeman?
Oh,
What his name?
12 gear.
12 gear. Okay,
Yeah.
I saw it hyphenated at one point, and the hyphen was after the V, and ever since then, I kind of got my brain got caught. And am I pronouncing this in my head correctly? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Really was hyphenated. I'm gonna have to fix that.
Yeah, it was like it went from one line to the next, so I hyphenated. It's where they hyphenate.
Okay, yeah.
I was like, well,
across.
I was like, did they put the hyphen in the proper syllable split? I wasn't sure.
Probably not. You get it to when you get it once it gets formatted, you just want to make sure that like everything shows up. Because at that point you don't, you just kind of put it in their hands that everything's kosher. So, but now that I know that, I probably have to go back and fix it. I initially had a problem where that because it was my first book, I just assumed that they did it right. I didn't go check. I didn't actually go through and look at every page in the book. Thank you, Jonathan. I didn't actually go through and look at every page in the book, and then I decided, I don't know, for some reason, so maybe I should just look at the book. Maybe I should, double check and make sure everything's kosher. And then, you get to, I was like in the second chapter and I saw the one page had like one paragraph on it. And then the next page had a second paragraph and there was all this white space. And like, my blood literally ran cold. It's like,
Those
oh my God, I got to
bastards.
fix this. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
how did that happen? It was just a glitch or what?
Yeah, it was software sometimes does that, and the guy who did it, or the individual who did it, didn't double check it, and of course, I didn't double check it, so I should have caught it. But nobody complained, and nobody made a really nasty review on it on Goodreads or anything because I had a screw up in my paperback. So maybe one day there'll be collector's items.
Oh, so I get to go find mine and bitch about it. All right.
I got to go find a copy and put character sketches in that spot.
All right. What page is it, Herman?
Well, no, you
I
call
don't
your
even remember.
glitched one first edition.
Yeah, well, I actually didn't do that. I was panicking too much to fix it. Luckily, the people who did the formatting did it for free because, what are they going to do? Charge me for their screw up? So,
Right.
But yeah, and that's one of the things that I did this time around is I went through every freaking page. But I mean, you do that, you can't read the entire thing because it's just like it, you've read the thing like 50 times already, and it takes like several days to get through one, and you got to get other stuff done. So
I'm afraid to look through my book because I've gone through it over and over before publishing. Editor's gone through it. And then I just the other day, I grabbed it to open up to reference something, double check something before I wrote something else down. And I opened it up. The first thing I saw was a typo. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Oh, that happened to me with Wizard Stone. I was like, because I would get the formatting back. And then Steve, luckily I was releasing the audiobook the same time as everything else. And so when Steve Fortune was reading it, he would point out, hey, this is a typo. And I was just freaking out. I kept going back to the formatter saying, this needs to be fixed. That needs to be fixed, to the point where I just freaking bought Adobe, the PDF editor.
InDesign.
Yeah. Bought a year's subscription to it because I know I'm going to be doing this again. So I might as well just invest the money. And I fixed every freaking typo we found. So
But-
these are important lessons when you
Yeah.
go to publish your
Billy.
book.
I mean, and I know no
Herman.
matter how many times we all go through, typos are gonna happen. But when I opened it up
Something
and found one that
escapes.
quick, it's like
It's
ouch.
it's on page 28, 29, if you want to make a note.
28, 29.
Yeah.
A year prescription of Adobe will help make a healthy book.
Yes.
Yeah, I got a lifetime
tried.
subscription to that one. Luckily, one of the few things college did right for me was introduce me to all the Adobe softwares. So that's actually what I use to put my books together is Adobe. I highly recommend it if you got the time to learn it. If you're not too good with programs, then you might be pulling your hair out a little bit.
So
I barely know how to turn my computer on.
Oh boy.
These are all important lessons. Make sure you check everything.
Yeah, I know with my last story, I must have went through it at least 5, 6, 7 times, and then still a lot of stuff got through. And so with my latest story, I got a professional editing software, and then I also hired an editor, and then this, I'm just trying to do every absolutely little thing I absolutely can to keep it in shape, sort of thing.
Well, even with that, I mean, I had 2 editors I had 2 editing passes with the editor, and I also had my wife read it over. And you'd think that when you go through that, everybody would find everything, but the problem is that even if they're doing editing, people will start getting sucked in. Well, I guess it's a good thing, but they start getting sucked into the story where they kind of miss things. And so it's not until you get a 3rd or 4th set of eyes that's going through the entire thing. And when you do the audiobook, you literally have to read every freaking word.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you begin to start seeing everything. So that's the time when you start freaking panicking. But
maybe that's something I should do, is actually read my story to myself and then just play it on repeat, because my stories are only like 6,000 words, so it's possible.
Or better yet, and it's I was supposed to read it back to yourself, record yourself, and then
that's
go back,
kind of what
and then listen to yourself,
or make your voice an AI. Make an AI voice read everything. You could have Joe Rogan read your story if you really wanted to.
You could do that, but I was about to suggest. I've noticed one thing on my word processor is I can hit a button and it starts reading it to me. There's only 2 voices to select, but I learned I should have done this with my entire first book. I did it with a couple of chapters. Somebody suggested just seeing how it sounded. So I was listening to that. And that was allowing me to catch mistakes that
That's
I
how
would
I
have just
do it.
skimmed over if I was just using my eyes.
I'll have to try that.
I did that too, but I've had that thing read back to me like 4 or 5 times. But the thing is that there's 2 things that happens when it gets read back to you. The first is you start getting sucked into the story, or the second thing is you start looking at something else, and you start getting like off onto a separate track. That's why I'm saying we're like a final thing. Read it, record it, and then play it back to yourself and read each and every word. And because that's how we found a lot of stuff. I mean, it's surprising when you do an audiobook and you are forced to read every word, you will catch stuff like in a heartbeat. So,
and that means after the editor.
Yeah,
just before.
I'm way after the editor at this point. So.